What's going on, guys? Aaron from Top Tier Gaming here, and today I'm back with another tier list. Of course, right after the ban list and with Legacy of Destruction coming up, I'm running through some tier lists. Up next will probably be the Board Breaker tier list, and this is again hand traps for the upcoming format. And I'm going to include Legacy of Destruction with this one, unlike my best decks tier list, just because I think it's more relevant when talking about hand traps, because the ban list is brand new and not so much of the format has actually changed in a way where I just want to talk about hand traps just with the new ban list. So this will be going forward into the next set. Also, with still the ban list hype going around, I am preparing a bunch of decks to do like deck profiles on, things I'm considering for regionals for Legacy of Destruction format, and things I just want to try post that set and this ban list. So if you have any decks you want to see, leave them down below. I'm just building a bunch of things right now, things that interest me, and maybe your interests and my interests align, and I can do a profile and get that up on the channel eventually. But yeah, with all that being said, feel free to leave a like down below, and subscribe really helps me out and what I do here on the channel. And let's start ranking some hand traps so that we can get into this tier list. For the tiers, we have main deck worthy, side deck worthy, potential / niche. Is there a way I can... This is horrible. Hold up. Alright, fixed. Potential / niche. Outclassed, but like maybe if you're running like 18 plus hand traps, you know, that's what this thing is for. There's some hand traps that are like less good than others, but maybe if you just want like a critical mass of a lot of hand traps, they can go here for either side or main. And we got Ain't No Way. This is for the there's no reason to play those this format. And I'm gonna be going through some of the obvious ones very quickly. We're still in a very similar format, and even going into the next format, there's some I don't think that is changing. We have Ash Blossom in main deck worthy, obviously. We have Nibiru in main deck worthy, Valor in main deck worthy, and Infinite Impermanence in main deck worthy. Obviously, these four are instantly going here. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. It's really the more niche hand traps and stuff that I think are interesting when talking about LEDE and the new ban list. Some things to note about these, like Ash, of course, she is seen, like some people choose not to main deck her because they don't want to play into Hida. I've had a couple of decks do that were like low on non-engine, so why use up like Ash as one of your only slots? And I've actually side decked her, that's fair enough, but she's still main deck worthy. Nib after the ban list gets a lot better, actually, just because there's less negates, right? So overall, Nib got a lot better. And then Valor Imperm, as long as... I mean, these actually got a lot better too because Linkuriboh's gone, so it's more easy to hit level 1 monsters with these. But yeah, I think there's no surprise that these four are here. Going into Bestials, I definitely think these are side deck worthy. If you're a dragon deck, obviously they're main deck worthy, but yeah, these are really good versus Branded, which is strong, good versus Voiceless, which is strong, even good into Snake Eyes still, like you still want to hit the IP Masquerena, like you can definitely side these for Witch or IP or something like that. These are just really strong. Reaper, not this format. I don't like, even if we were just in like a 60% Snake Eye meta and like Snake Eye were playing nothing but mirrors, there's too many things you want to hit with this card for it to be good, in my opinion. So yeah, we have definitely, which one is this one? Is this Contact C? I have 2 C's here. No, I have 3 C's. I think this is Contact C. Not that great, this format. Like, there's too many generic links. Crow, I think, has potential / niche. I mean, things like Sky Striker, things like Pearly, they got buffs, and Crow is like pretty good versus them. It also hits, you know, Voiceless Voice that we mentioned before with Bestials. It's still good versus Branded. I'm not gonna put it side deck worthy, but I think in like niche situations, it's like a little better than Outclass, and I'm gonna say it has some potential. I don't think it's terrible. Cycle Reader, no, I think the only time this is really good is if Eldritch or Drytron is like really strong, because you could say this is good versus Voiceless, but there's not enough light decks to make that relevant. Dogwood, definitely side deck worthy. Dogwood is in like a tier of its own. Dogwood and Shifter to me are just two different beasts of cards, because there is no card in your side deck more powerful than Dogwood in the situations where she is good. Dogwood, I think if you have the space and your deck needs it, it's very strong. Droll and Lockbird I think is super interesting, because at the start of this format, the main thing I'm thinking about with Droll, right? I want to say main deck worthy initially. I'm going to talk about this before deciding whether I want it side deck or main deck. The thing about Droll is if we assume pure Snake Eye has been hit to the point where Fire King is simply the best version. I've seen some people tinkering around with pure still, and especially post Legacy where you get Snake Eye's Diabellstar. Maybe pure still has some gas in it, right? But like the main reason to play that version is gone. It was the Omni Negates. So playing that version, there's less reasons to play it over Fire King at this point. So if we assume everyone's on Fire King, which is my current assumption, is what I think people would gravitate towards, Droll is insane versus that, and Droll's like still good versus Voiceless. It can be good versus Branded, to where like main decking it doesn't feel too terrible. Like if Branded starts one of those like normal summon Aliber as like their play, or Allure of Darkness, or people have been on Patchwork recently, if they start any of that, Droll's okay, right? So there's a lot of matchups where Droll is also bad, so do we want to main it? It really depends how many people are on Fire King Snake Eye, I think. Honestly, I think you could put it in either one, but I don't think main decking it is wrong, and I think it's more main deck worthy than everything I'm going to have in the side deck. So I'm going to put Droll in main deck worthy. Gamma, I think this card's potential but niche. There are a few decks that can choose to play Gamma, and if you're siding Delta, it's like fine, which I don't have Delta on this tier list. Maybe, I mean, you'd always play them together, right? So this is the Psy-Frame package. That's what we're calling this area. So if you're looking for Delta, we're going to count it with Gamma because you're going to play them together anyways. I think there's potential. Some decks want to play it, some decks don't. But yeah, I don't think I'm putting it any higher than that. Bell, I think, is side deck worthy. It's good against Labyrinth. It's pretty good against Voiceless. It's pretty good to, like, if you're playing Voiceless, it's good to protect you from Bestials or things. Branded, it's a little scary against Branded because it won't always stop Branded in red because of Lost. Overall, I think Bell is definitely a side deck card, though. Mourner, I don't know. Mourner could still be main deck worthy. A lot of people are main decking Mourner right now. It's really strong. It's just like the third best spot negate, right? But going into this next format, I mean, it can still hit like other things too, where it's like fine. It really depends on what percentage of people are playing Fire King Snake Eye, right? I want to put it in main deck worthy still because Snake Eye Ash and like the Fire King build is still just like everything, and you really want to stop Snake Eye Ash. Of course, at that point, he's a normal summon more often, and then you're not hitting that, but this card's still really good. I think if you're playing 15 hand traps, and we're still in a hand trap heavy format, then these 5, I think, are totally main deck worthy, maybe Droll. You can definitely choose to play this. You could also consider it side deck worthy, but I'm going to put it in main deck worthy for now. Also, something to talk about with this tier list is potentially we're not even in a hand trap format anymore, like with less negates, with less Baron, and less Savage, like board breakers might be really strong again, and maybe we shift away from hand traps so you won't be main decking all of these. And if we shift more board breakers, then you could see like both of these, all 3 of these go into the side deck potentially, right? So but for now, assuming we might still be in a hand trap format, I think these are the most main deck worthy hand traps. Ghost Ogre is bare minimum side deck worthy. This card could be main deck worthy too. This card feels pretty good versus Tenpai, I know, because it stops their field spell. If I'm wrong about that, I guess I haven't looked too much into Tenpai, but I know their field spell has like an activated effect that you can Ghost Ogre and then they'll be affected, which is great. Ghost Ogre is pretty good versus Voiceless. It's not terrible versus Snake Eye to an extent. I don't know, Ghost Ogre, I don't want to put it in main deck worthy, but I do think it's very strong. I don't know if you'd ever side it. Like if you're gonna play it, I'd want to main it. But overall, why are there 2 bells on this tier list? I'm just now noticing that. Overall, I'm going to put Ghost Ogre in side deck worthy for now, but as the format progresses, it could definitely be main deck worthy. I think Ghost Ogre is super strong. Chaos Hunter, ain't no way. There's no way. Impulse is like potential or niche, and niche isn't like your deck needs to be able to use it. Like for me in like tier laments, this card is a mainstay in my side deck currently. And I think Impulse is really strong for that. It just depends on the deck you're running. Lancia, ain't no way. I mean, like, what does this stop? Flunder? It just doesn't do anything right now. Skullmeister normally fits into this outclassed tier, but honestly, kind of just ain't no way right now. I don't see any person... There's no need to play Skullmeister right now. I don't know why there's 2 bells. But, Phantasme is definitely side deck worthy. It's still really strong into a lot of options, but it's something you side more for Snake Eye. You wouldn't side this versus Voiceless. You wouldn't side this versus Branded. You wouldn't side this versus Tenpai coming up. There's a lot of decks you won't side this for. But I do think, especially if Fire King Snake Eye is taking up around 50% of the meta, if it still wants to attempt to be tier 0 or just be the best of tier 1, then this still is like a solid side deck card. I think Phantasme is great, especially when paired with Impulse. I really like that. Retaliating, I've seen some people actually play this. I'm going to put it in outclass, but maybe. I remember people attempting to play this because like you can hit original, and then this is like Macrocosmos, versus like some of the Fire King cards, or really versus some of the Snake Eye cards, namely original Sinful Spoils, like being able to activate this card and be macro is pretty nice. I mean, it's usable versus Voiceless, I guess. I mean, it's usable versus Branded as well. I don't know, maybe if you're like a rank 4 deck, or like B Trooper, you can consider this card. I'm going to put it here. I don't think it's that good, but just to put something in this tier, I'm doing it. Shifter is like the most main deck worthy hand trap in the game if your deck can play it, so it's going there. Sneaky C, that's the name of this one. I'm pretty sure this card's not good. Token Collector, honestly, like Sword Soul could see an uptick of play just because Protoss. That being said, I don't expect Sword Soul to be more than like 0.5% of the meta, and I'm going to throw this in Ain't No Way. And that's going to be it for the hand trap tier list. Definitely a little shorter than my deck tier list because hand traps are a little easier to explain. Let me know what you guys think down below, where you think certain hand traps are. I don't think there's anything too profound about this list. Like the hand traps I think are it's pretty standard from the last format. But if you have any differing opinions, feel free to leave them down below and we can have a discussion. And of course, if you did like this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. This has been Aaron from Top Tier Gaming. Bye, YouTube.